If you work in education, whether you're a teacher, an administrator, anyone in the system, let me ask you a question. What is the single most stressful day of the entire year? I bet one word just popped right into your head. The audit. Oh yeah. It's that heart in your throat feeling of scrambling for paperwork, trying to justify every decision, and just praying you can prove your quality. But what if all that stress could just go away? Seriously, what if you could flip the script from reactive panic to just proactive confidence? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it means to be audit ready every day by mastering compliance by design.
So, how do we get there? It starts by moving away from those dreaded piles of paperwork and embracing the clarity that comes with a really solid framework.
And that framework, it has a name. For anybody working with Pearson qualifications, this right here should be your North Star. It's called the SCARV principles. Think of it as a simple, powerful checklist for making sure your assessments are top-notch and trustworthy. So what does SCARV actually stand for? Well, it's the core framework that makes sure every single piece of evidence you gather is sufficient, current, authentic, reliable, and valid. These 5 principles, they are the absolute bedrock of quality assurance. Now, here's the real game changer. The goal isn't to just check for these things after everything's done. No, it's about building them right into your daily workflow from the very beginning. It's all about evidence by design.
And that immediately brings up a huge, and I mean huge, question that every center has to deal with. How in the world do you give verifiers enough detail to prove someone's competent while at the same time protecting that learner's privacy and staying compliant with GDPR?
And here is where design provides a brilliant solution. With a feature like a 75% crop, you can focus the evidence exactly where it needs to be, say on a specific wire connection, while cutting out all the sensitive or just plain unnecessary background stuff. That is data minimization in action. You get sufficient evidence and you don't compromise privacy. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the V in SCARV, validity. And this quote just nails it. Validity is a design function, not an afterthought. You can't just cross your fingers and hope your evidence is valid. You have to build a system that pretty much guarantees it. So how do you build that guarantee in? Well, take a look at this. It's called forcible mapping by design. It means that every single comment an assessor makes has to be linked directly to a published criterion. There's literally no room for vague, unhelpful feedback. The system itself makes sure every judgment is tied directly back to the official standards. But assessment isn't a one-way street, right? What about the learner's side of the equation? Let's talk about how we can move beyond just guesswork and really prove true competence. Oh, this is so cool. Instead of just a simple answer, the system asks the learner 2 really important questions. How confident are you in that answer, and why? This process of thinking about your own thinking is called a metacognitive response. It's designed to completely get rid of what we call blink guessing, and it gives us way more reliable evidence that the learner genuinely gets it. Okay, let's hit another classic audit pain point. You know the feeling. You're digging through a folder system and you find that perfect piece of evidence, but oh no, it's outdated. The best solution is to engineer that problem so it can't even happen. And that's what the enquiry loop is all about. This isn't some static folder. It's a living, breathing, managed workflow that makes sure evidence never, ever gets stale. And here's the magic behind it. The system has built-in rules, like a strict 15-day window for resubmissions, and it requires a mandatory sign-off from a lead internal verifier, or LIV, before anything can move forward. This creates this managed, totally auditable process where the system itself keeps everything current. You're not chasing paper. The workflow is doing it for you. So, when you pull all of these different pieces together, what do you get? Well, it's a complete transformation. It's that shift from reactive anxiety to this amazing state of proactive, everyday confidence. And this slide just sums it all up perfectly. You can see how all the principles come together. You have a system that is literally designed to produce evidence that is sufficient, authentic, reliable, valid, and current, all thanks to these smart, built-in features we've been talking about. And the final result, the end product, is this: a locked, verified, and time-stamped audit trail. This isn't just a random collection of documents. It's validated, defensible, audit-ready evidence that you can pull up on demand. This is what it actually looks like to be audit-ready every single day of the year. But let's be really clear here, this is about so much more than just taking a boss and passing an audit. So why does all this really matter? Well, for learners, it means they get a truly fair and accurate judgment of their skills. For centers like yours, it creates incredible efficiency and a deep sense of confidence. For employers out there, it builds trust that this qualification actually means something. And for all of us, for education as a whole, it upholds the integrity of the entire system.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When a qualification is a promise, and that's what it is, isn't it? A promise of skill, of competence, of knowledge. How do you prove you've kept it?